There are many reasons why friendships fall to the bottom of the priority list. We're busy. Work takes up a significant chunk of our waking hours. We're maintaining relationships or marriages. We're supporting aging parents or relatives. Our kids have full schedules. Maybe we have our own health issues we're prioritizing. There's a myriad of reasons why friendship and connection falls to the bottom of this list.
You're listening to Prospecting on Purpose, where we discuss all things prospecting, sales, business, and mindset. I'm your host, Sara Murray, a sales champion who's here to show you that you can be a shark in business and still lead with intentionality and authenticity. Tune in each week as we dive into methods to connect with clients, communicate with confidence, and close the deal.
Hello, and welcome to Prospecting on Purpose. For this episode, we're talking about the power of connection. This is a topic that keeps presenting itself in different ways, which is why I wanted to build a short episode around it. I recently presented to a global company on this topic, and when I was preparing for the presentation, I uncovered some surprising and alarming statistics. One of the biggest was that the top 5 factors that contribute to a long and healthy life are healthy diet, okay, not surprising there, exercise, also not surprising, not smoking and not drinking excessively. Those were in the same category. Again, we got that one. But then the top 2 that really surprised me were close relationships with family and friends and social integration. So feeling part of a community. Throughout history, humans have been social creatures, thriving in communities and relying on one another for survival. We are biologically wired to seek social interaction and form deep emotional bonds with our loved ones, our friends, and even acquaintances. However, with the rise of technology and social media, and obviously virtual living, our relationships have taken on a different dynamic. We've gone from it takes a village to pretending to look at our phone when we walk by someone on the sidewalk. We're at a time where we're digitally and logistically more connected than ever, but emotionally extremely disconnected and even isolated. And I got to be honest with you, the statistics were super depressing. I'm going to share a couple here so we can understand the importance of it. I will link the studies in the show notes. If you want to dive into them on your own, you can. I found them sad. And I'm prospecting on purpose. We keep the vibes high here. So I'm going to share a couple of them, then we'll pivot back to the good news and how we can prioritize human connection. One study showed that loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking and an even bigger risk factor than obesity and a sedentary lifestyle. Another study showed that 3 decades ago, 3% of Americans told Gallup pollsters that they had no close friends. In 2021, an online poll put that number at 12%. And not surprisingly, the pandemic only amplified this. About a year into the pandemic, 13% of women and 8% of men ages 30 to 49 said they'd lost touch with most of their friends. There are many reasons why friendships fall to the bottom of the priority list. We're busy. Work takes up a significant chunk of our waking hours. We're maintaining relationships or marriages. We're supporting aging parents or relatives. Our kids have full schedules. Maybe we have our own health issues we're prioritizing. There's a myriad of reasons why friendship and connection falls to the bottom of this list. The entire point of the human experience is to form connection with others. If we can understand that this is just as vital as eating healthy and exercising for a long and healthy life, we can then prioritize this, carve out time for it, and practice it just as we would those other factors. This is another form of self-care, and research shows it will extend your life expectancy, and with strong social connections, we have a 50% higher likelihood of experiencing overall happiness and life satisfaction. From a physical health standpoint, social support is a key aspect of connection. And when we break it down, this makes a lot of sense. When we have a network of friends and family who provide emotional support during challenging times, we experience lower levels of stress, right? We can let other people help us carry those loads. Work and life itself can be stressful. We need trusted release valves. We know that chronic stress can lead to a host of health problems: cardiovascular disease, diabetes, compromised immune systems, anxiety attacks. But by having strong social connections, we can mitigate the effects of stress and ultimately improve our physical well-being. From a mental health standpoint, engaging in meaningful relationships fosters a sense of purpose and belonging. We're going to lead more fulfilling lives, pursue our passions, and have a positive outlook on the future. And we need positive outlooks to have growth mindsets. And the only way we're going to accomplish our goals and dreams is to have growth mindsets. And finally here, human connection stimulates cognitive function. Think about it. Stimulating conversations, sharing experiences, telling stories, collaborating with others. This all enhances our intellectual capacity and it makes us feel seen. When we connect with different types of people, we gain new perspectives, we challenge our assumptions, and we broaden our horizons. We're growing as people, and that is really the ultimate purpose why we're here. So we understand the why. I want to pivot some of the statistics back to the happy. One study found that more than 80% of centenarians communicate with a friend or family member daily. A centenarian is a person who is 100 or more years old. And we all know I like to talk about my grandparents. They unfortunately did not join the 100 plus club, but they got close. My grandpa lived to be 89 years old and my grandmother lived to be 92 years old. And I have to tell you, they were the most social butterflies you could ever imagine. They had parties all the time. They were always hosting dinner with their neighbors. My grandma played bunco every month. She had her nursing friends, her Red Hat Society friends. My grandpa had his military buddies. They had their friends from church. They went to water aerobics twice a week, all the way up to the pandemic. If I ever tried to watch a movie with my grandparents, it would literally take 4 hours to get through the movie. The phone would ring at least twice, minimum twice. One was usually my godmother, Maeve, who was friends with my grandmother for over 60 years. They talked every day. And then in addition to the phone ringing, the doorbell was always ringing all the time. People just popping by. Can you imagine this happening now? People these days literally don't even answer their phone. So at the time, I would find it really annoying because I was just trying to watch the movie and we kept having to pause to have 45-minute conversations. But now I didn't realize that this social interaction and sense of community was prolonging their lives. So a tiny bit of guilt there, but I'm so grateful that they had this networking community around them. So I hope Mac and Esther's social calendar has motivated us all to make some friends, but how do we intentionally do it? Making friends as adults is difficult. It takes work and effort, but it's so rewarding. It's just as, if not more so, rewarding than exercise and healthy diet. So I want to focus on how we can make some friends and how we can make some of these human connections. For this episode, we're just going to focus about work because it's a great place to make human connections. If you work for a company, you instantly have something in common with everyone else who works at your company. Boom, connection point. Oftentimes, we're speaking a unique work language that our spouses or our parents or our grandparents don't understand. So there's that organic bond there. If we're looking to expand friendships outside of our direct coworkers, can we expand within our organizations or our industries? If we're passionate about reading, can we create a book club that's open to different departments? Maybe we'll meet someone new in accounting that we would never normally interact with in our roles. If we want to expand our network in our industries, volunteering for a board of directors position in an association that serves our role, but also gives us a platform to collaborate with others, this is a great option. Maybe your alma mater, volunteer for a board of directors position at your college. If we're in an outside sales rep role, maybe we form friendships with other salespeople in non-competing product lines. We can host joint events together for our clients. If we hit it off with one of our clients, let's invite them to a yoga class or invite them to a poker game, start a poker game, get a group together. We can attend conferences or workshops that serve us in our roles, but also give us the opportunity to meet people. For entrepreneurs or people who work alone, there are a lot of communities and group programs that we can join. I'm having calls with new people a couple of times a week to understand our business alignments and see if there's crossover opportunity. And I'm getting so much joy out of that because I'm able to talk to individuals who understand what I'm going through and vice versa. The podcast personally has been an amazing vehicle to build connections with people and collaborate and create something together. And the bonus side effect to all of these human connections is that it's just going to make us more efficient at our jobs. So now we have some starting ideas on where to find people and some suggestions on how to build these connection points in a work environment. I want to share some final tips on how to build these connections. Now we have some starting ideas on where to find the people or where to create an opportunity to meet people. I want to share some final connections on how to build these friendships. First, we need to be open and approachable. We can't be looking at our phones. We can be smiling, making eye contact, maintaining a friendly and positive demeanor when we're interacting with people. If you're nervous about this, I'd recommend listening to past episodes of this show. Episode 4, Why Prospecting Works for Icebreakers, and episode 25, The Importance of Remembering Names, are great starting points. The second suggestion here is take the initiative. Making friends requires taking the first step. Don't be afraid to initiate conversations and show genuine interest in others. Ask questions, actively listen, use the person's name, engage in meaningful conversations. If you hit it off, suggest grabbing a coffee or happy hour or an exercise class, wherever your conversation may lead you. Maybe your conversation was around books and you say, hey, we should start a company book club. But here's the trick. You have to get their email or their phone number right then and there, and then you have to make the plan and actually do it. Momentum gets lost if you don't keep the ball rolling. My script that I like to use when I'm closing out a conversation is, well, it was so nice to meet you, Stacy. I was serious about checking out that new yoga studio if you are. Let me grab your number and let's make a plan. And when I say that, I literally have my phone open, showing her I'm ready to take her phone number. I would get it. I'd send her a text right there, follow up with some dates, book the class, and then we see how it goes at yoga. Getting the number and doing the plan is the hardest part. Once you're in yoga class, that part's easy. You did it. If you're concerned about what to say on your new friend date, I'd recommend listening to episode 21, The Art of Relationship Building in Business. And then the last thing I'd leave us with is be patient and be persistent. Just think of it as practice. Building meaningful relationships take time. Friendships do not form overnight. Stacy and I may end up having nothing to talk about. Not every interaction will lead to a long-lasting connection. If we keep putting ourselves out there, it gets easier and easier. I think one of the biggest things I've noticed is that the other person is so grateful and receptive that I took the time to reach out and plan something, regardless of if we become best friends or if it's a one-time hangout. Other people are in the same position we are. So be the person that takes that initiative and just starts the dialogue. Eventually, it becomes natural and obvious to nurture the relationships that show potential. I feel very lucky with the friends, family, and social integration that I have in my life. It fills my life with richness and joy. My wish for every listener and really every person on the planet would be to have social connections that literally add years to our lives. We all have something to offer. We all deserve to take up space. We all deserve to have friends. And they're out there. They want to be friends with us. We just need to put in the work to create and maintain them. But it's very fulfilling work, and it needs to be a top priority for our health and longevity. I hope that this podcast serves as a resource for you to have some tools on how to do that, how to build connection, how to create relationships, how to approach someone for the first time. If this helped you, please share it with a friend, maybe a new friend that you haven't met before, whatever. This podcast is a great little thing you can text people to get their phone numbers, and I would appreciate it. Subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review. This helps with the podcast rankings, as I know you know. And then if you are listening to this in real time, this episode's releasing July 17th, 2023. Then next week, starting on July 25th, I am hosting a follow-up to Prospecting on Purpose Live. It is a 3-day workshop called Ace Your Sales. So it's 90 minutes each day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to take everything that we've learned in the Prospecting on Purpose workshop. That's July 14th. And that's going to be our foundation and our jumping off point to Ace Our Sales. ACE stands for action, communication, and execution. We're focusing on those topics each day and essentially following the sales process and the 7 crucial skills for effective selling. If you want to learn more about that, it's connect.saramurray.com/ACE. I will put it in the show notes. But again, it's connect.saramurray.com/ACE, July 25th through the 27th, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. If you missed Prospecting on Purpose Live, no problem. Replay is going to be sent to you before Ace Your Sales begins. I'd recommend you watch that replay because we need a lot of that foundation building and prospecting skills before we get into acing our sales. I'd love to have you join. It'll be super fun, very impactful. There's a lot of punch in this 4.5 hours here. So I will link Ace Your Sales details in the show notes. I will also link those studies that I mentioned if you want to dive into the depressing statistics about how important friends are. In the meantime, I hope you go out and make some friends, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to the Prospecting on Purpose podcast. If you loved what you heard today, subscribe to the podcast and please rate and leave a review. For more info on me, or if you'd like to work together, feel free to go to my website, saramurray.com. On social media, I'm usually hanging out at Sara Murray Sales. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.